The man was sobbing uncontrollably. He'd just been fired from his job. In a fit of rage, he vowed to kill his boss within 3 days. But when he stormed into the office, the boss was already lying dead on the floor. The man let out a terrified scream and instinctively pulled the dagger from the corpse. Only then did he realize his hands were covered in blood. He tried to push the dagger back into the body, but couldn't bring himself to do it. Panicked, he fled the office to seek help. A colleague saw him drenched in blood and shrieked. Everyone stared at him in horror, convinced he'd murdered the boss. Realizing the situation was spiraling, he bolted for the elevator, only to find it packed with people. The tension in the elevator was palpable, as if everyone feared he'd pull out the dagger at any moment. Just then, the weapon slipped from his hand and clattered to the floor. Police cars arrived downstairs in no time. The man pretended to have a nosebleed, covering his face as he staggered outside. By sheer coincidence, he bumped into the actual killer.
It's not how it looks! Oh, what's the use?
Who was fleeing the scene. The assassin froze, confused by the man's presence, then scrambled to gather his things and escape. Desperate to dispose of the dagger, the man went to a bridge and threw it into the water, only to watch in horror as it landed on a passing patrol boat. He ducked and ran, convinced he was now a fugitive. Unbeknownst to him, the office security cameras had already recorded the real killer's face, and the police were closing in on the actual culprit. But the man, convinced he was wanted, hid in a trash can whenever he saw cops. He stayed there for hours, listening to 3 officers play games and later sing song, until they finally left at dawn. Emerging from the trash can, he called home to say he'd be on a business trip, then headed to an ATM. But the moment he saw the camera, he panicked, dumping his ID and bank cards in the nearest bin, leaving him with only $10. He cleaned the blood from his clothes in a public restroom, then stumbled to the bus station and bought a ticket to Mexico. Meanwhile, the killer was watching the news. When the security footage of the tycoon's murder aired, he realized the man he'd bumped into wasn't his accomplice. He was just a random victim. Frantic, he called his employer to demand more money for the hit, arranging a meeting in Mexico. What will happen when these 2 strangers, one running from a crime he didn't commit, and the other hunting his own target, cross paths again in Mexico?